Hi, Ángela. First of all, thank you so much for being here with us. Welcome to Medellin and to Colombia. We just want to know more about your journey, your thoughts, the things you do, because this space is to share with all the people of the conference to know more about the keynotes, more about the talk you make, and also the things you could put at the biography. The idea is to share more about you, and I think that is nice for the community. So thank you so much. First question, first time in Colombia?
Yes, first time in Colombia, and thank you so much for the invitation. It's a huge pleasure to be here. I was really happy when I got the opportunity to join you guys. Yes, first time here, super excited.
Okay, nice. Did you enjoy the first part of the conference, the people? How was that?
It has been really interesting to just listen to. I think one of the things that's been quite fascinating for me is the many languages that get spoken at the same time, because you are not usually, you typically don't think about it when you go to a conference, because you're just used to everything is going to be in English. And I live in an English speaking country, and this is kind of like, it's just so nice to have kind of like to hear different accents and to hear even kind of like the people asking questions in Spanish and speaking about it. And I also thought at least the talks that I joined in the morning session, they were very interesting to think. Is it very completely different topics than the areas that I work on, but the parallels and how can you kind of like take the concepts from the visualization, or even like from the geospatial data, into the more kind of like biotech area that I work on was really cool.
Yeah, right now you work more at the side from the computational biology and these kind of things, but at the beginning, you was an engineer. How was that journey to start like engineer and move to biology sciences?
Yeah, it's it's an interesting question. So I studied biomedical engineering, but I always wanted to go more into science. So after my undergrad, I did PhD in systems biology. And during my PhD, I was doing mathematical modeling to understand drug resistance mechanisms in cancer. And then at the end of my PhD, I was still missing to actually, I felt like I didn't have enough depth on biology. So I joined for postdoc lab. There was a cell biology lab, and I was the only computational person on that lab. So I learned a lot of biology. And that is when I think I started really transitioning into what we would now call like a data scientist, because I was the person in the lab that analyzed all the different types of data that they were generating. And then at the end of my postdoc, I moved formally into a data science position at the CZ Biohub.
Great. You are an inspiration to a lot of women who want to work at STEAM. What advice could you bring for any woman or girl to want to move to science or study science?
They should definitely do it. Like, science is the best job anyone can have. You get to be creative. You get to really like have passion on the work that you do, and you get to use so much of like the technology. I think the advice that I would give for people starting now is don't be afraid of it, and just go after something that you like. If you like math, study math. If you like engineering, study engineering, because what is going to really help is to have learned the basics and to think. And the more that you learn to think, and the more that you are kind of like exposed to, how could I apply this type of learning that I'm doing in this class in this other setting that I like, about like if you like biology, but then you are learning about how do you think about like the systems and how the rules of the code, and you can start thinking about, what are like the rules on the biological system. So it's really about like learning how to think and following your passions, and don't be afraid of it.
Okay, nice. Also at the Chan Zuckerberg Institute, yeah, you had an incredible path because you started as data scientist. At the end, you was associate director in bioinformatics. Incredible. How was that?
Yeah, sometimes, like, I just feel I just feel I was very lucky to happen where or like just to end up where I end up. So I joined as a data scientist, and I was doing all the analysis. Back then I would do write all the code that I was working with, and that we were building the first references of whole organism cell atlas. So I think a lot of people by now are familiar with the Human Genome Project. And there is a project that started in 2016 that's called the Human Cell Atlas, which is to map all the cells in the body. At the Biohub, when I joined, what they were doing was to start with mouse and to try to map as many cells in the mice. So I joined those projects, which became known as the Tabula projects. And so as I went from mice to the aging mice to start working on the first version of the human reference, which is Tabula Sapiens, I had the opportunity to build a team. And so it was very organic. It was just kind of like, one day I was like the person doing all the analysis. Then I started to have some people doing analysis with me. Then I started managing that people. And then I was managing a large team by the time that I transitioned to Insitro.
Okay, that's nice. Really, really nice. Also, you spend a lot of years working on computational biology. These things, as you mentioned, related to, I don't know, cells, cancer, very beautiful topics. What is the achievement you feel more proud in all these years?
Oh, this is a tough question. Scientifically, I am very proud of the Tabula projects because they became community resources that are widely used. And it's very rewarding to have people from all over the world, because you can download the data, everything is free and accessible to the community. And people from all over the world writing to me and say, oh, I'm trying to use this data, can you help me here or there? And I'm like, oh, people are actually kind of like using all the work that we did. So I think that is one of the contributions that I'm the most proud of. The other thing that I'm very proud as well is to have built teams that can talk computational and engineering and can talk biology. And I think training these interdisciplinary scientists, which has been most of my focus over the past handful of years since I became a manager, is something that more and more I'm appreciating, and I'm feeling really grateful for the opportunity of training the next generation of scientists.
Great. Now you are director of bioinformatics, right? And computational biology. From your perspective, what is the future of this field?
It's a wonderful question. So I think this is, for a while, we were thinking, oh, how much is biology becoming computational? And I think what we are now starting to see with all these large models is that the models are only as good as the data that is used to train the models, especially for biomedical applications. So I think the future of computational biology, if I had to bet on something, what I would be betting is really on this ability to shape the next effort of data generation with an understanding of where are the gaps in the knowledge. If we are trying to model a disease, which is like something that I do at my current company, we are looking into diseases, and then we create experimental systems that allow us to manipulate that represent that disease. So it's kind of like, how can we help identify what are the right models to use so that data can be generated to then inform the models that we know have to be built. So really being this glue, but also having a lot of the vision for the scientific projects that are to be shaped.
Nice, nice. Also, you mentioned a couple of things related to models, and now the artificial intelligence is, important in all the fields, I think. Also, new models like Evo2 are starting to be used for scientifics in biology and bioinformatics. Do you think the artificial intelligence will replace the scientists, or do you think we need to make the scientists support on artificial intelligence to get better results? How do you think is that relation?
My perspective is AI will augment the work that we do. I think the beauty of being a scientist is that you have the luxury of your work being to think about a new thing that has not really been thought before. And I think having AI will be a tool that just accelerates the creative process. I do think also that some jobs will be impacted, but if we look back in history across all the technological revolutions, even from like the times of the Industrial Revolution, every time some jobs disappeared because they got replaced by something, the number of jobs that got created has always been larger. So I think I just take an optimistic view that AI is here to basically augment how the scientists work, change how some of the work in other careers is done. But then when we kind of like get more into using and in getting accustomed to having that as a tool, I'm excited to see which careers will emerge.
Okay, really nice. Also, changing a little bit of topic, we want to know more about you. What are your hobbies?
Where I love to do long bike rides. It's one of my things that you just get on the bike and do cycle for the whole day. I've done a couple of 100 miles this year already. That's kind of like something that I truly enjoy doing. And then the other thing that I really like to do is mentoring. So it's just kind of like when people wanna chat, they wanna kind of like advice or career, always happy to kind of like spend some time and share my time.
You really enjoy to create things.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Ángela. It's a pleasure for us to have you here. Also, all the people in the conference is excited and want to talk with you and make questions for you, and that is really amazing. So thank you so much, and let's enjoy the event.
Thank you so much, and I hope people come find me. I'm here the entire time.